If you look identical to every other person in your market, you are contributing zero value. So no surprise to me that, sales feel all over the place. People are ghosting you. People are telling you, oh, it's out of my budget. And then you see them go and pay someone who's double your rates. Like, that's no surprise to me because you are not contributing something that they haven't already seen.
Welcome to the Wildly Free Podcast. I'm your host, Hannah Plord, business mentor, 3-time founder, and marketing nerd. On this podcast, you'll learn how to break free from the traditional job world and pave your own path so that you can go all in on life. Grab your favorite warm drink and pull up a chair as we talk all things marketing, growth, strategy, and the real and raw sides of entrepreneurship.
Hello. Today has been an incredible day. And what I want to really have you walk away from this live stream with is that you will make more money when you bring more value to your market. So right now, you are creating content consistently. I have no doubt in my mind that you are good at creating content. Like, you are posting consistently, the design's fine, your writing is fine. But if you look identical to every other person in your market, you are contributing zero value. Because someone already came out here and said that. Someone already had an offer like that. But you saw somebody else do it and you thought, oh, she's making money, I'm going to do that too. Or her content's working for her, I'm going to post content like that. That right there is the reason why you are not the go-to in your industry. If you look identical to every other person in your market, you are contributing zero value. So no surprise to me that sales feel all over the place. People are ghosting you. People are telling you, oh, it's out of my budget. And then you see them go and pay someone who's double your rates. Like, that's no surprise to me because you are not contributing something that they haven't already seen. So if you want to get paid, sell with story. Your story is your differentiator. Your story is how you stand out. Your story is how you are remembered. Without a script, without having to go look at your sales page, without having to look at anyone else's content or ask ChatGPT or look at your notes, tell me why I should invest in your offer over anyone else in your industry. I'll wait. Right? Like, I remember when someone would ask me, like if I was working with a coach or if I was in a networking program and someone asked me, what do you do? Or what's your offer? Tell me what your offer is. And you're supposed to give this like one-liner pitch, right? So I remember I would be like, I don't know. Like I would ramble. I would feel imposter syndrome. My cheeks would get so flustered and I would be so stressed out. And I would start saying something like, well, basically I help you do XYZ, right? Like I help you unlock your greatest potential. Barf. I help you sign more clients to content, okay? And then they say like, okay, are you an influencer? And you're like, oh my God, no, like, I don't know. I'm in marketing, right? Like if you can't tell me why I should invest in your offer over anyone else in your industry, that is a big ass problem that we got to fix, right? Because when you are embodied in your offer, that comes naturally. Hi, Nadine. When you are embodied in your offer and what you teach, and when you're creating content that's based on the real life experiences that you're leading yourself through, leading your clients through, it's rooted in like the actual work that you do. You don't have to read a script. You don't have to look at your notes. You can just press play on a live stream like this and ramble on and have plenty of things to talk about. Right? Like I once worked with this client who content creation was a little bit hard for her. what she was doing at this time was she was really comfortable sharing other people's content to her stories, like inspirational quotes and stuff like that. She was like in the inspirational quote world of content creation, but she got all of her clients through word of mouth and like face-to-face interactions. And she came to me because she wanted to expand her business to be on the internet. She wanted to have more clients come from all over the world because of the connection that social media can bring. And so we were working on her content, and she was like, it's coming so hard to me. So I said, look, just tell me some stories that you have about your clients. And she would go off on talking. She was a mindset coach. So she would go off on talking about this client who was like super stressed about, like, you know, the quote unquote matrix that we're all in. Like, you have to get good grades, then you have to go to college, then you have to get a job and work your way up the ladder and save for retirement and all these things. And she was just like firing this stuff off at me. And I was like, amazing. Like, how did you help her overcome these, you know, ingrained beliefs that, you know, were passed down to her from generation to generation? And she was like, well, we did this, and then we did this, and then we did this. I was like, this is the root of your content. Because right now, whether you're posting content consistently or not, I bet the content you are putting out there is very rigid. It's very like confined to a box. You're like, first I have to have a good hook. Then I have to say this. Then I have to sell myself. Then I have to have a CTA, and I have to have a trending sound, and I have to look a certain way. I have to have a certain kind of font. I have to have my brand look a certain way. And all of those rules are like strangling your voice. If you think of like a hose, like a garden hose, there's a kink in the hose right now. There's a knot that's preventing the water from flowing. And that knot is everyone else out there telling you to do this, to do that, to do this. And they have crowded your brain so much that you've just forgotten why you started your business in the first place. Who the fuck you are. You have forgotten that the work that you do is incredible. And when you are talking to someone who is interested in working with you and the conversation is flowing, you have no problem getting them to sign a contract with you. You have no problem having them come in and work with you as a client. The problem right now is capturing those people's attention. You right now are probably, you know, like I've worked so many of my clients that when they work with me, we're already working with clients. Sales are coming in. They're coming in through word of mouth. They're coming in through networking. They're coming in through referrals. But it's not coming in from their content. And yet they're still posting content consistently because they know they should be doing that. And at the end of the day, it's like, why are you even posting content if it's not doing anything for you? Why are you doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting different results? Right? And it all comes back down to, why are you different? And that is your story. Your story makes you different. The experiences that you've had makes you different. The people that you work with makes you different. Like if I were to go invest, actually, I'll just tell you the story about when I just invested in my last business coach, right? She's a business coach. The work that she does looks very similar to the work of many other people. But this is just the fact, right? Like people used to say in 2020, oh, the market's not oversaturated. It is. Like there are tons of people out there doing the exact same thing as you. But the difference is you have a unique framework. You have your story. You have experiences that makes you different. Your personality makes you different. The way you show up makes you different. So back to the story, right? So like she's a business coach. She's been in the game for 5 years. And at that time I was like, kind of in between coaches, and I was looking at a couple of different coaches, and I was like really drawn to the people that are like loud and confident, and they're like, they take no shit, right? So they're like, I know you need to be doing this. They call you out, and I'm like, I was so attracted to those kinds of coaches, right? But at the end of the day, I kept coming back to this one particular coach that I ended up hiring and have kept on hiring over and over and over again because, one, I knew her story. Her story actually was basically the life that I wanted to live. We started at similar times. We started doing things the same way. Like, I was a done for you social media manager. She was a done for you social media manager. The difference was her business took off way faster than my business did. And now she has a reputation of getting people to the $1 million mark in their business, which is what I want for myself. The reason why I hired her is because she continuously talked about her method for getting her clients to 30K months, to $1 million in sales and revenue. She continuously talked about the client results she was having, how she got them there, how she led them through it, her way of doing things. And that's what got me to invest in her, right? So like, there are a million of business coaches out there, but I hired her for that reason, right? So that's what you need to be finding for yourself. I shared a story. Actually, it's on my Instagram stories right now, but I also did a post about this yesterday. I think it was yesterday, maybe 2 days ago, because I was doing a ski trip, right? And it was talking about how, like, if I just followed the traditional marketing advice, I would not be here today. I nearly burned my business to the ground because I got caught in comparison. I got all caught up into the, like, what I opened the live stream about. I got caught up in the looking at what everyone else is doing, making sure that I had offers that aligned with them because that's what was successful. That was what was trendy. Making sure my content looked a certain way because that's how you find success, right? Like, if it worked for somebody else, it's going to work for you. And if I had followed the traditional advice of just keep posting, be more consistent, post more volume, my business would have literally crashed and burned. It was so close. But what saved my business wasn't a viral hook. It wasn't, honestly, it wasn't a coach or anything. Like, I didn't invest in one particular person and they magically fixed my business. It wasn't it wasn't that I had like my photo shoot, because I had my photo shoot last year. It wasn't that I decided that I was the one, because I hear that lingo going around a lot. It wasn't that I don't know. What are the other excuses? It wasn't that I found a trending sound. It wasn't that I was lucky. It wasn't because I had 1 million followers. I have 656 followers right now. Like, that has never been my reason for success in business. But the reason why my business was brought back from near collapse because of comparison was because I focused on story, right? Like, I came back to my story. I actually went on a 3-month detox where I wasn't consuming anyone else's content. And I focused on one, why am I different from everyone else in the industry? What's my story? 2, who is my offer for? And that's it. It's like literally, and then 3, like, what's my experience, right? Like, we can bring in that tie as well, because you need to be showing up with embodiment. So I got back to the root of actually why I am here. And when I'm on a coaching call, I use this analogy, metaphor for, like, I use it way too often for way too many things, but I want you to think about it as like an onion, right? So onions have so many different layers. And when you started your business, you were just like a little seed. You planted the seed and you had this idea and this hope that your business was going to support your lifestyle. You're going to make more than enough money that you even know what to do with. You'd be able to pay off all your debt, and you'd be able to put $5K towards saving every single month. You'd be able to do all these trips. Like, I told my fiance that my goal is to do a trip every single quarter, right? In my business. And like, you planted this seed. And at this time, like, nothing could stop you. You were so in love with your business. You were so obsessed with it. You would wake up and the first thing that you do would be like, let's create content. So you'd create content. You would then like go and talk to people in your industry because you were just like so excited to talk to somebody else about this. You would work with clients for free. You would work with clients for a discount. Like some of my first clients were beta clients where I was testing out my offers with them. And you were happy to do this. You were happy to go live. You were happy to do podcasts. You were happy to create content. You were happy to just be in the world of your business because you loved it. And it's that seed that you planted. Then let's say time goes by and you add a layer of like, well, people say that 3 months you should start seeing something, and maybe I'm not seeing exactly what I thought I was going to see. So you add a layer to your onion, and then maybe you start doubting yourself and you start thinking, well, maybe I was a little egotistical and I thought that I could do this when I really couldn't. So now you go and you look at other people in your industry and see what they're doing that you're not doing. Add another layer to your onion. And then you're like, maybe I made the mistake of doing this, or maybe my hooks aren't good. And all these little self-doubts are piling up onto your onion. Your job, like eventually your onion gets so far wider and larger than the original seed that you planted that you can't even see your seed anymore. You can't even remember why you started your business. And if I were to ask you, why did you start your business? You could probably tell me like, I started my business to help people, to create an impact, right? Like people say, know your why. And you're like, yeah, I know my why, but that's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about like, what was your spark of excitement of like, oh my God, like when you're like just so animated and you're like, I can just do this. That was your why. Not because you want to help people. Like obviously you want to help people, not because you want to make money, not because you want to escape the job matrix. Like all of those things are true, but really it was because you had this little seed, this little inkling of hope in your heart that you could do this. And over time, the limiting beliefs, the comparison, the self-doubt, all piled on top, and you forgot that. My work that I do with my clients is peeling back the layers. We remove all the expectations. We remove the rules that your content needs to look like this or your content needs to look like that. We remove all of the self-doubt and the limiting belief, and we get back to the root, the seed that started your business. Your story, your why, your expertise, because your content should reflect the work that you're doing with your clients. And right now it's not. Your content is reflecting the work of your industry. Your content's reflecting what everyone else is doing. Your content is reflecting what's trending, but it's not reflecting what's you. And it took me to nearly have my business crash and burn to realize that like, I still slip up, right? Like I still have to mute people. I'm not perfect, but I have an entire file on my computer where it lists out my story. It lists out all my client experiences, my client story, my client wins, my client testimonials. It lists out what I did on this call on this day. And I pull my content from this file. Sometimes I use trending sounds. Sometimes I use like a trend. But more often than not, I am pulling content directly from my story bank. This is something that I teach you inside the Story Selling Accelerator, right? Like we aren't looking, I'm not giving you a bunch of prompts and being like, plug in your details here, because that's doing you a disservice. You're just going to look like every other one of my clients and myself. And that's not who you are. So instead, I teach you how to build your own story bank. I help you get clear on the stories that you should be telling in your business, because I know a lot of people hear storytelling. Hi, Sonia. I know a lot of people hear storytelling and they think, oh, I have to be vulnerable. I have to share my family. I have to like air my dirty laundry out on Instagram. And that's not true whatsoever. If you scroll my Instagram and if you look at my story and stuff, I share very little about my life. I mean, I do share a good amount. Like, that I ski, that I have a cat named May and I love her. But those are not the types of stories that I am talking about here. in the story selling method. I'm talking about the work that you do, right? Like, you're not just another coach. You're not just another entrepreneur. You're not just another social media manager. You are special. We have to figure out why you're special. Maybe you already have an inkling why you're special. We have to put that into words and infuse your messaging in it and your content with it. But right now, you're acting like just another entrepreneur when you need to be acting like you. Insert your name here. Because the moment you decide that I don't care what anyone else is doing, I don't care what the content trends are, I don't care what's selling the best right now, what's going to make me the most money, what I care about is getting results for my clients. And in order to get results for your clients, you need to know who your clients are. Actually, who are they? How you're going to get them results, and why they should care about it. Why should they invest in you? Why do they need your help? And so many people go wrong because they do this on a very surface level. I remember when I first started my business as a social media manager, I just lost my train of thought. I didn't quite have, I remember what I was going to say. So I didn't quite have like a quote unquote framework. Like, I had a framework that I led people through, but I didn't have a name for it. I also didn't know that was a framework, because I feel like frameworks, we've been talking more and more about them as the years progress. Like, this was back in 2020, actually before 2020. And so I didn't know that I had a quote unquote framework. Like, I just thought everyone knew this. And it took me I was talking to one of my clients about this. It took me having people come into my inbox and say, can you help me with social media? And actually having conversations with them and realizing, oh, not everyone understands social media. Not everyone understands how to market themselves. Not everyone is good at content. Not everyone knows how to make a reel. Even today, April 9th, 2025, there are people out there that don't know how to make a reel. And no, they're not 65. They could be your peers, and they don't know how, okay? So you have a skill, you have a process, and the more that you talk to people in your audience, the more clients that you work with, your process becomes more and more clear. And this process is like your golden ticket. The more you believe in the process that you do, the work that you do, why your story, the more success you're going to have. Because as I opened this live stream, when you can provide value to your industry beyond just regurgitating what everyone else is saying, that's when you will make more money. Your money is tied to the value you bring to your market. But right now you look like every single other person. Right now you're just another entrepreneur. And if you want to get paid, you got to sell with story. And that's the story selling method, right? So if this message resonated with you, I am super passionate, and this is the work that I do, of helping pull the brilliance out of people. I love taking 1% of you and just turning the dial up and helping you really own the thing that's going to make you different. I just worked with a person who had a VIP day with me, and she was told to do copywriting because that's what makes you the most money. And when we were having conversation, we both realized that she didn't actually really like copywriting, nor did she know how to copyright. But she was told that that's what makes the most money, and so that's what she was doing. Well, we were talking and we realized that she actually has this vast skill that she's super passionate about. Every time we were having conversations, she kept coming back to this point. I was like, why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you talking about this in your content? I didn't know I could. So many of my clients come to me and they're trying to talk to everyone, and I help them really scale back, and I help them get focused on that 1% of them, 2% of them that's going to really amplify their brand, make them stand out and be remembered. Right now you're creeping on everyone else, but it's time for other people to be creeping on you. Time for other people to be copying your content, because you're magnetic. The work that you do is incredible, and you deserve to be known. And that's my goal for you. I want you to be known for something in your industry. So if you have been posting content consistently and you've been resonating with this message, this live stream, then send me a DM. Check out the Story Selling Accelerator. This is a 6-month program with me where we do exactly that. We pull out your 1% thing that's going to differentiate yourself, your story, and we center your branding around that. We center your content around that, your messaging around that, and set you up to actually drive sales through emotional connection in your content. You can book your one-on-one onboarding call with me immediately. And you can also start diving into the trainings, because I have Main Character Messaging, my signature course, which is normally $997, but it's included as a bonus in the Story Selling Accelerator. You get to dive into that. You also get to dive into the rest of the library of trainings that I have. Some of the things I have are like storytelling for conversion, sell with story, storytelling method. So like one-off trainings that I did on Reels research, and like how to understand your dream client better, the actions you should be taking in your business every single day. So if you're like, I'm so sick of the way content is working now, I want to stand out, I want to be known for something, I want to one day be famous, I want to have tons of followers, I want to be the person someone recommends when they say I need help with X, Y, and Z, this is the program for you. So go ahead and send me a DM if you're interested. You can also check out the link, and I'll see you inside, because we've got work to do. And once you start building this momentum of dialing down, peeling back those layers of the onion and getting to the seed of what you do, you're going to be unstoppable. And I cannot wait. It's so exciting for you.